The thing about March Madness, which is so unique, at least from my perspective as a guy who's been in this industry for over 25 years, is that it's like having the Super Bowl 4 times this week, 4 times next week, 2 times the following week. And it's reflected in the handle, the amount of money that everyone is betting on the game. Do you realize that it was estimated that legally, I'm talking legally, which means illegally, you can probably inflate this number 3 times over. Legally, there was about 1.3, $1.4 billion bet on the Super Bowl a month ago. Do you realize that last year legally, 2.7 billion was bet on March Madness. And this year they're expecting somewhere around 3.3 billion. And that's just in the 38 states where online wagering is legal in the District of Columbia. Now, when you throw in office pools and illegal wagering, they are estimating that last year the take was around 15 billion. That's billion. I say they're probably still underestimating that number. It's probably over $20 billion. Okay. So March Madness, it's here. This is going to be one of 2 videos I have for you that I do every year. This video is going to be the video that when I used to do tons of TV and tons of radio, I do some 60, 70 interviews a week. This is the stuff, the crap that I call it, the crap that every radio and TV guy wants to talk about. How did the seeds do? What's their positioning? The historical trends, blah, 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 blah. Bored me to tears, but everybody likes to hear it. So that's what this video is all about, as I'm going to break down the history of the seeds in the tournament. But I'm going to give you warnings as well. Now, the other video, which you can see, it's referred to there in the top of the screen, that one, you can go to DeMarcosports.com and download my bracket, and I will walk you through every single play in the bracket because, again, I've always maintained that, at least for me and for most handicappers, especially those here at the site, because I know them, but especially for somebody like me, a guy who started his career as a sports reporter, a managing editor of a sports wire service, and of course, now a guy who handicaps every single day, we are familiar with all these teams in this tournament. I've looked at this and there's only 4 teams in this entire dance card, which I did not handicap a game this season, which means I followed all those teams. And that always gives me an inherent edge when it comes to breaking down and making my picks for tournament pools. Does that mean I always win? Of course not. It's gambling in a way, right? But it gives me an inherent advantage. So anyway, guys, Al DeMarco here, general manager, DeMarcosports.com. If you haven't figured that out by now, because you've seen my name here at the bottom of the site, let's commence with what I like to call my version of bracketology. So you've got 25 of the last 39 tournaments, including 13 of the last 17 have been won by a number 1 seed. And if you look at my tournament bracket, you'll see I have a number 1 seed winning it all. And at least one number 1 seed has reached the championship game 31 times in that stretch. But you knew there was a but coming, right? In terms of the overall number 1 seed, which they first started naming the number 1 overall seed back in 2004, only 4 of those 20 have actually won the championship. Of course, UConn, right? Last year, but 8 of those 20 have lost in the Sweet 16 or earlier. I'm looking at you, Auburn. A number 1 has made the Final Four in all but 3 years. That's a number 1 seed, not the number 1 overall seed. In all but 3 years, the only 3 exceptions, 1980, 2006, 2011, since the seeding began. And only once have all 4 number 1s made the Final Four. And that was back in 2008. Heck, all 4 number 1s have made it to the Elite 8 just once the past 14 tournaments. Now, this is where the rockets should be going off here in the video if I really wanted to take the time. And this is where the little balloon pops up, because I'm going to tell you the problem with a stat like that. It gives you a preconceived notion. It plants that little seed in your head. When you're filling out your bracket, when you're gambling on the games that, oh my God, I got to take that number 1 seed out because historically speaking, it's never worked. Guess what? Records are made to be broken. History doesn't always repeat itself. And that's the problem with these bracketology trends, that they make great sound bites. And that's why when I used to do a ton of interviews, everybody wanted to talk about them. No different than talking about prop plays in the Super Bowl. But when I say to you, in terms of that last one, a number with number ones making it just all the way, tell me which number one seed do you think is going to get knocked out early in this dance, right? It's kind of hard, isn't it? And again, we'll go through my bracket and do that all. Anyway, moving on. Number two seeds. They've made it to the title game 13 times since the field was expanded back in 1985. And they've won 5 of them. Who was the most recent? Come on. Tick tock. Time's up. Villanova, 2016. Jay Wright's swan song. Or no, he stayed longer than that. Or did he? No, I think he stayed longer than that. Last year was the third time in 27 dances where all 4 number 2 seeds reached the Sweet 16. No more than 2 have reached the Elite 8. Now, the number 3 seed has made the final 11 times. They've gone 4-7 in those championship games. The last time was Texas Tech losing to Virginia way back in 2019. The number 4 seed has only reached the final 4 times, split the games. The winners were Arizona back in 97 and Connecticut last year, 2023. 2023, which means I made a mistake earlier when I said Connecticut last year. I really meant Connecticut 2 years ago when they were number 1 seed, FYI, and you probably picked that up. Number 5 seed, 4 second place finishes, no wins. So they reached the title game 4 times, but never won it. The last to do so was San Diego State against Connecticut back in 2023. I had the Huskies that day, easily covering the spread. Number 6 seed, only twice has a number 6 seed reached the championship game. Kansas in 1988 won it all. The last time a 6th seed even made the Final Four, Michigan, 1992. That, I believe, is the longest drought for any seed to make it to the Final Four. Number 7 seed, UConn, became the only one to ever reach the title game and then beat number 8 Kentucky. A number 8 seed, 4 appearances in the title game, the last one being North Carolina back in 2022. The only one of those 4 to ever win it was Villanova back in 1985, and I believe that was the first year that the tournament expanded from 48 to 64 teams. The number 9 seed only made it to the Final Four twice. That was Florida Atlantic in 2023 and Wichita State in 2013. The number 10 seed, Syracuse, in 2016 was the first to make the Final Four. 9 have advanced to the Elite 8. Now we're getting down there. The 11 seed, 6 have reached the Final Four. Most recently, of course, North Carolina State last year. And what happens? The Wolfpack are mediocre this year, and they fire their head coach, Kevin Keating, a couple of weeks ago. Go figure, right? So much for success. None have ever won, but at least one number 11 seed has made the Sweet 16 in 8 of the past 10 tournaments. So, who are your number 11 seeds if you don't have your grid in front of you, your bracket in front of you? We have the play-in games between San Diego State and North Carolina, and Texas Xavier, Drake, and VCU. Interesting matchups. Number 12, only 2 teams, Missouri, way back in 2002, and Oregon State in 2021, have reached as far as the Elite 8. Now, there have been 4 round of 12 teams 12 seeds that have reached the round of 16, and at least one 12th seed has won a first round game 33 of the 39 tournaments. So who are your 12 seeds this year? McNeese against Clemson? Liberty? Colorado State. You know I was riding Colorado State down the stretch. They entered the tournament with 11 straight wins. I would not be surprised. I think they have a chance against to win their first round game. Then you have UC San Diego. A team that's on a great winning streak, a team that was the best team in terms of making you money against the spread this year. Could they be the team, the Titans, the Tritons? Yeah, Tritons. Okay, we move on. Then you have the number 13 seeds. 6 had made the Sweet 16. The last being LaSalle way back in 2013. But at least one 13th seed has won a first round game 28 of the last 39 tournaments. So who are your 13 seeds this year? Grand Canyon, Yale, Akron, High Point. Tough. I give Yale a puncher's chance to knock off a Texas A&M team that really struggled down the stretch. Maybe, but that's about the only one I can see. Grand Canyon, high-powered offense, but the Lopes just don't play any defense. Number 14. Only 2 14 seeds have ever made the Sweet 16. Tennessee Chattanooga back in 1997 and Cleveland State in 1986. And only 2 14 seeds have won a first-round game since 2017. Now you're way down at the bottom of the barrel. The 15 seeds. The first and only 15 seed to advance to the Elite Eight. St. Peter's, remember? 2022. 4 have made the Sweet 16 since the tournament expanded to 68 teams, however, in 2011. Listen, do we really have to talk about the number 16 seeds? I mean, you're lucky that you've had 2 knock off number 1 seeds. And if you don't know who they are, shame on you. Okay, you got the first 4 games coming up here. A first 4 team has reached the second round. The second round, 12 of the past 13 years. And unlike some years, you have some quality teams here in the first 4 because North Carolina sucked during the regular season, because Texas Xavier are playing each other and barely snuck in. So you even have San Diego State playing North Carolina. I'm assuming North Carolina is going to win that game. So there is a potential there for that streak to be expanded or extended. Of 5 of those first 4 teams have reached the Sweet 16. 2 have reached the Final Four. UCLA in 2021 and VCU. I didn't even remember that one. VCU way back in 2011. A top 14 seeding, 1 through 4. A top 4 seed has been knocked off in the first round, 14 of the past 15 years. Oh, Purdue, I'm thinking of you in past years. In the 7-10 matchup, the one that, people love to talk about along with the 5-12, in the 7-10 matchup, a 10th seed has won a game 16 straight years. Now, the 7 seeds are still 40 games over 500 in that stretch straight up, but they have had some success. A number 11 seed has won a first round game every single year since 2005. Again, NC State reached the Final Four last year. And for 14 straight years, we've seen at least one team seeded 4th or worse make the Final Four. And in 10 of the past 11 tournaments, a 7th seed has made the Final Four. Food for thought. The lowest seed, by the way, to ever reach the title game was an 8th seed. That's happened 5 times. Before the tournament expanded, UCLA way back in 1980. The first year it expanded to 64 teams. Villanova won it all in 1985. And then in 2011, you had Butler. In 2014, you had Kentucky. And in 2022, you had North Carolina. Again, only one won it, and that was Nova. So the lowest seed to ever reach the Final Four was a number 11 seed, and that's going back to since the tournament expanded again back in 1985. It happened 6 times, and most recently was NC State again. But the most memorable, Sister Jean and the Ramblers of Loyola of Chicago. So there you have it. A lot of numbers, a lot of details, but I tried to put them all together for you and compress them. It's interesting water cooler fodder, but again, do not let these preconceived historical facts set that notion in your head that, oh my God, I can't take this team in my bracket because history says it never works. Yeah? Why? It happens. There are exceptions to every rule, even in gambling. So that'll do it, guys. I wish you well, and we will talk to you again soon. Good luck, everybody.